Good, happy Saturday morning, March 16, 2019. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, out of state high schoolers sent racist images at UNH Jazz Festival, officials say. An out of state high school student was responsible for sending racist images to other students' smartphones during a jazz festival at the University of New Hampshire earlier this month, a school official said. The images were sent via airdrop to some Boston public school students attending the festival. An investigation determined that the sender was not a member of the UNH community. School spokeswoman Erica Manns said, "This is not a criminal case," Manns said in a statement. The two affected schools are in contact about how best to address the incident through education and awareness. Manns added, "Racism has no place on our campus or in our society. It goes against all of our values as a community, and it will not be tolerated." "11-year-old charged after woman killed, man injured in Alton shooting." Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Kristen Carosa and Siobhan Lopez.
Out the door when it matters most. For more than a decade, he's been right there, everywhere. And when American jobs are on the line, he leads the charge. ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast, and we thank you.
Good evening. We are on the air with breaking news on the shooting in Alton. Law enforcement sources are giving an update right now. Let's listen in.
Office. We have a brief statement to provide to you all concerning today's incident in Alton, New Hampshire. I do want to say, before I begin and be clear up front, that because this incident involves a juvenile perpetrator, we are prohibited by law from providing you with much in the way of additional information beyond our statement. What I can tell you is that today, March 15, 2019, at approximately 7:30 a.m., a 911 call was received reporting a shooting at 76 Dobbins Way in Alton, New Hampshire. Officers from the Alton Police Department responded to the residence. An adult female, Lizette Eckert, age 50, who had suffered a gunshot wound, was found deceased at the residence. An autopsy for Ms. Eckert is tentatively scheduled for tomorrow. An adult male, James Eckert, age 48, was also found at the residence and had suffered gunshot wounds. Mr. Eckert was transported to the Portsmouth Regional Hospital, and he remains in critical condition. In addition to the officers from the Alton Police Department, the Belknap Regional Special Operations Group also responded to the scene, where a search ensued in the area surrounding the residence for the assailant. At approximately 9:30 a.m. this morning, a juvenile was taken into custody. The New Hampshire State Police Major Crime Unit, with the assistance of officers from the Alton Police Department, have undertaken the investigation that has followed. The juvenile who was taken into custody this morning has since been charged under the juvenile laws in this state with 1 count of reckless second-degree murder and 1 count of attempted murder. As I have stated, since the alleged perpetrator is a juvenile, the law precludes any further information from being released. But I do also want to ask that anyone with any additional information about this matter, please contact Detective Sergeant William Bright with the New Hampshire State Police. His phone number is 603-223-4381. I'll take any questions you have.
Where was this juvenile found?
Okay, that was the information from the press conference last night that took place as they gave some information on the whole incident. An 11-year-old was taken into custody Friday morning after a woman was killed and a man critically injured in a shooting in Alton, officials said. Police responded to a 911 call at the home on Dubins Way about 7:30 a.m., officials said. Lizette Urquhart, 50, was found dead of a gunshot wound, and James Urquhart, 48, was critically injured with a gunshot wound, officials said. Assistant Attorney General Jeffrey Ward said a juvenile had been taken into custody, but because of a juvenile is involved, he could not release a lot of information. Ward said the juvenile was charged with 1 count of reckless second-degree murder and 1 count of attempted murder. Ward said he could not release the relationship between the 2 victims. James Urquhart was being taken to Portsmouth Regional Hospital. The suspect was taken into custody about 9 a.m., sources said. Ward said he could not give detail on where the juvenile was found. A woman who lives nearby said she got a knock on her door shortly after the shooting was reported. 2 nearby schools were placed on a secure campus mode while the situation was going on. Prospect Mountain School Principal Jay Fitzpatrick said there was no immediate threat to the school, but measures were put in place as a precaution. The Community Church of Alton opened its doors Friday for anyone who wanted to visit and pray. Reverend Sam Hollow said that although the church doesn't have confirmation who was involved in the shooting, he believes the victims are known to many members of the church. Members of the church plan to be available to the community Saturday, and a special service is planned for Sunday. .4 magnitude quake reported in Kentucky area. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
Right now, Weston Observatory is confirming a magnitude 2.4 quake shook parts of Merrimack County tonight. Many of you sent us an email to alert us that you felt it. It was centered in the Kentucky area at 9:23 p.m. No damage reports have been received.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Manchester Elementary School sets high standards in leadership program. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cherry.
Do you need a new roof but think you can't afford it?
Our average customer pays $7,500 for a total roof replacement, and we have finance plans with payment options under $150 per month. Call today. Century Roofing, we've got you covered.
At Gosler Park School, the sound of progress echoes through the halls. And it's reverberating through its students.
It's just inspiring. Everywhere you go, there's something to remind you that we're following the 7 habits.
The 7 habits are based off of methods from Stephen Covey's Highly Effective People and are displayed within sight at all times.
The kids are learning to be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first, think win-win.
Today marks a milestone. The school reached the highest level of its leadership program, named a Lighthouse School.
It's going to mean that we're positioned to be a leader in the state of New Hampshire and really a leader in the whole New England region.
We're kind of like the lighthouse to the boats, and we're trying to lead other schools to become like us, and so they can lead other people. It's fun. It's a great experience because every teacher in the school is nice, every student in the school is nice. That's good.
The lessons have become a lifestyle that translate outside the classroom.
There's an 8th habit called Find Your Voice, and so I've actually found my voice more. Before, in 3rd grade, I was very shy. I didn't even want to talk to my teacher.
But the work isn't done for Principal Upham. Some students live in dire straits, and a little thing like clean clothes can mean everything. So the school needs help buying and installing a new washer and dryer.
We have kids who get the jackets, and they're so proud to be wearing them. But once they get dirty, they stop wearing them because, sometimes it could be a little embarrassing for them.
And beginning next fall, the United Way, which helps fund the program, will bring 5 schools in West Manchester into the fold. The goal is to make sure children take part in the lessons K through 12.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Nashua South student makes sure all classmates can have lunch. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Andy Hirschberger.
It's a plate that many take for granted, but a group of Nashua High School South students saw that some were missing out and started a project that's making a remarkable change.
Basically, the inspiration for the program came from signs in our school's cafeteria that said no money, no food. So we kind of just decided to create a program that would get rid of those signs.
Those signs are down, replaced by these for the Meals Matter program. This completely student-run initiative has raised $25,000 since November to pay for lunches for classmates who don't qualify for the free lunch program, but who also don't know where they'll be getting their next meal.
You see your friends and all your peers around you, some of which you know are struggling, some of which you don't know are struggling.
There are a total of 20 people and places that students can go to in the school and get one of these vouchers. With this, they get lunch. No questions asked. Organizers say they help about 100 Nashua North students a week. With the money they've raised, the group has also cleared all the students' lunch debt that's accumulated this year.
But you feel like you accomplished something and that you changed somebody's life in a way, even if the slightest thing can change somebody's life in a pretty big way.
And these kids are thinking big. Next month, the program will expand to Nashua High School North with the goal of going district-wide in 3 years.
We're not getting anything out of this other than just the simple pleasure of knowing that we're doing something good for somebody else.
Have a nice day, honey.
In Nashua, Andy Hirschberger, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Danbury Police Chief, native New Zealander, shocked by Moscow shooting. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Tim Callery.
At Beltates, customers will find everything they need for a building project. The brand names you trust to perform. And with a fleet of over 50 delivery vehicles, we deliver when and where our customers need them. Beltates Building Products. 9 locations throughout New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
Danbury Police Chief David Suckling has this Fighting Kiwi flag hanging in his office, a gift from his uncle back in New Zealand, where Suckling is from.
Said you must never ever forget to stop fighting.
The chief was raised in Christchurch, the site of Friday's attack. He found out about it as news developed online.
Kind of disbelief.
His mind immediately went to his family.
Reached out to some friends and obviously my family that are still living in Christchurch to make sure they were okay. My father was in the central business district while it was all going on, and he had seen some police activity, and he was trying to get out of the city as fast as possible.
Suckling says his home country is a melting pot of people from all different backgrounds, and it's the last place he'd expect to see something like this. He says what appears to be a racist attack has no place in New Zealand or anywhere in the world.
You know, these mosques that got attacked, they wanted to be New Zealanders, and the Prime Minister's made a great statement today saying that they are New Zealanders. Some of them were probably there as refugees, and they're exercising their right to practice their religion.
As a first responder, he knows this incident will have a deep impact not only for the people involved, but the country as a whole.
I think it's really taken New Zealand and destroyed an image that was clean and green and beautiful and safe.
And now the chief went on to say, despite this ordeal, New Zealand is still a safe country, and he applauds the efforts of the Christchurch first responders. Live in the studio, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. State accidentally gives out $26 million in tax refunds. A number of Louisiana residents unhappy with their tax return are about to get even more mad. The state announced that a computer error earlier this week accidentally gave some people doubled the refund they expected, and no, they will not get to keep it. Louisiana officials have already begun recuperating what amounted to $26 million in duplicate refunds. And now let's take a look at events happening today in New Hampshire. Charming Fair Farms Maple Express begins at 10:30 a.m. in Candia, New Hampshire. Yard Birds at 7:30 p.m. in Plymouth, New Hampshire. Maple Sugaring Season Families 10 o'clock a.m. in Laconia, New Hampshire. Shamrock Shuffle 5K, 9 a.m. in Plymouth, New Hampshire. Chad Battle of Badges Hockey Championship, 5 p.m. in Manchester. Forced Forensic Reading a Landscape History, 10 o'clock a.m. in Holderness, New Hampshire. Cozy Knit Blanket Workshop, 6 p.m. in Bedford, New Hampshire. Melvin Seals and JGB, 7:30 p.m. in Plymouth, New Hampshire. And if you want to see the complete list of those events and more information on those events, you can go to visitnewhampshire.gov and then click under Things to Do, and then click on the event calendar. And some other events happening. At 8 o'clock, happening right now, is the first robotics competition, Southern New Hampshire District events at Bedford High School. New Hampshire Landscape in Motion 8:30 a.m., Concord Chamber of Commerce. Friends Annual Book Sale, 9 o'clock a.m. at Nashua Public Library. Storytime, Concord Public Library, Heights Branch at 9:30 a.m. The 2018-2019 Winter Farmers Market, 10 o'clock a.m. at Cool Gardens. Maple Sugaring Season Families, Prescott Farm Environmental Education Center at 10 o'clock a.m. Creative Computer Challenge, C Science Center, 10 o'clock a.m. And Abstract Painting by Rose Brandt, Exeter, opening recipient at the Art Up Front Street at 10 o'clock a.m. And those are all the events happening around New Hampshire today. And that does it for this edition of the Riley King Newscast. I hope you enjoyed your Saturday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast. Have a great day, everyone. See you back here later on today. Goodbye.